So The Flash is without a doubt the CW's most popular show on the network, especially out of all of the Arrowverse shows, but I'm still left wondering, and I'm sure some of you guys wonder this from time to time as we get closer and closer to the 7th season of The Flash, is just how many more seasons can this show go on for? So today, obviously, I wanted to talk to you about the possibility of The Flash ending, the ways in how I think it could go about ending, and when that could be. Now obviously, there is absolutely no way to know this for sure, so this video right off the bat, I do want to say that this is just speculation on how long I think I could see it going, but I definitely do want to put it out there that I could be completely wrong and the Flash could somehow pull out the bag a supernatural length of seasons. However, I do feel like that one is very unlikely, but I just wanted to put a quick update on the Flash in this video as well, with as of when the next episode is going to air, and that was meant to be April 7th, which, you know, is quite a while away, and this is all due to the illness. Now, if you're wondering why I'm saying that, a lot of YouTubers, you know, literally the bot is actually going around demonetizing videos if you say the name of the illness, but either way, we were supposed to be getting the next episode on April 7th due to what is going on with all of that, halting productions and stuff, but now it's just going to be a rerun, I believe, of the Crisis on Infinite Earths episodes. So as a result of that, now we actually don't know when the next Flash episode is going to be. It's got to be sometime after April 7th, which is already, as I said, quite some time away, but I do want to let you guys know I'll keep you updated, and I'm doing more live streams on the channel, so keep an eye out for those. I'm actually doing them once every couple of days at least. They're called the Boba Quarantine live streams, so yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. I will be coming out with some content in between all of this crazy stuff going on in the world. Let me know if you want to see any specific videos or ideas that you want to see me tackle on this channel, but let's continue on with this video. So along with me, everyone, I would just love to hear your thoughts on realistically how far you think you could see this show going, and also what your perfect ending and season-long arc would you like to see The Flash go out on. I mean, I think I can guess what most responses will be in the comments. So first of all, just like all shows, The Flash has been a show that has gone up and down in the terms of its popularity of various seasons with the fandom. If we look back at season 1 and 2, they're often referred to as the best seasons. Season 3 is where for many people the show started to dip off quite a bit. Season 4 was either somewhat a step up for some on season 3 or just a gradually decreasing graph, I guess you could say, in terms of quality that just didn't feel like the step up the show needed from season 3. And then of course we had season 5. Now, all while the show always on some level introduced some new factor or additions that make things very interesting, such as the family dynamic of bringing in the Flash's daughter in season 5, Nora Allen, we then of course had the lackluster villain that was Cicada. Do you guys remember that one? However, in season 6, we got a new showrunner who has changed up the formula in many ways to the betterment of the show, in my opinion, and I think quite a lot of people's opinions, I guess. And the 6th season, along with the other Arrowverse seasons, all had quite a buzz due to the impending crossover event of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I would primarily say that The Flash being one of the key shows of that hype, since Barry Allen, of course, has had that newspaper article centered and weaved in around the show's plot for the past 6 years, and the 6th and latest season had what I guess you could say a bit of a small boost or training wheels alongside its new approach of a graphic novel 2-parter season when it started. And I was left wondering and mentioning how the show's quality would be after the crossover. I actually speculated about this quite a bit in my early reviews of season 6, that all the while these episodes were cool with the visions of Barry, you know, he was having of his death in Crisis, and you know, we had the main graphic novel villain, part 1 at least of the season, with blood work and how that was in play, and of course that Crisis storyline slowly trickling along until the mid-season did make me ultimately just have concerns about would it be kind of slightly underwhelming compared to the first half of The Flash season 6 due to that huge threat of Crisis being over. But to my surprise, I guess it was to my surprise, that the second half of this season has been quite entertaining entertaining and performing better than what I thought it would compared to that first half. And I wouldn't call it perfect, nor necessarily even the best The Flash has ever done, but it's definitely taken an interesting direction thanks to the new implementations of the showrunner. I mean, I feel as though that The Flash has many things going on in this back half that is keeping me personally interested, and many others, and not too many things to the point of where it's hard to keep track, because, you know, it just feels very refreshing at the end of the day having Team Flash not all in Star Labs just all the time. I mean, this time round we have the inclusion of Iris and a news outlet and brand new team members. We have Ralph on the case of Sue Dearborn. We have the Blackhole storyline cooking in the background, which is still a mystery for the most part, but ties in with the blatant back half villain that is the new version of Mirror Master, Ava McCulloch, and just other various characters, you know, all feeling like this year they are really doing their own thing, which has changed the dynamic of the show in a more positive and refreshing way. I mean, we even have the fallout effects from the Death of the Speed Force episode being included to the point where Barry is needing to create an entire new Speed Force on top of everything I just mentioned. So given what I'm saying about the show's current state, and the reason why I wanted to mention that is because it's kind of really relevant to, you know, how the seasons can progress moving forward, I really do feel that The Flash can definitely milk this new approach to the show for a couple more seasons at least. There are, however, many aspects to take into consideration which just ultimately makes the estimation, or my guesstimation, whatever you want to call it, of the show's decision to call it a day ultimately quite hard to predict, because we have to remember that The Flash is, you know, as I said earlier, basically the most popular Arrowverse show on the CW, which means it brings in the most viewers, and it's not likely that the CW would want to drop that ball that still continues to roll and bring in viewers anytime soon. So on that note, of course, we will likely get a season 8 after season 7, but then again, after season 7 there may be some characters who aren't really, or should I say actors, contractually obligated to stay anymore, and they may want to go off to different projects. So, you know, if you think about the possibility of a couple of core characters not wanting to stay on, for example, and this is just for example's sake, whether that's Caitlin and Cisco, or even Tom Cavanaugh, or even 2 of them, or even 3 of them, but that's kind of unlikely, but who knows. You know, let's just say whoever, the show might take a damaging hit from that perspective. And of course, Grant Gustin himself, there isn't really a show there at all if he didn't want to be a part of it after 7 seasons. However, you know, I do want to say I do feel as though The Flash could still squeeze out 8 seasons, and I think, and I can imagine that Grant Gustin would stay on after season 7, and that's for numerous reasons, but obviously only he knows how long he wants to stay committed to the show. And it is to be noted that he does love playing the role of the Flash, but the bigger question here is, in all of this, is will there be enough? This is what I wanted to move on to mainly. Will there be enough to keep this show going on from a perspective of story that doesn't make it feel like it gets dragged out? That's why there's shows out there that decide to end in the first place, in that kind of situation where rather than calling the show cancelled, they make the decision to end, you know, the show on their own terms, which is often the best thing to do rather than kind of sucking out all of the speed force out of something when there isn't much left to begin with. I mean, you would rather go out with a strike of lightning, right? And a way I can kind of explain this to you guys is in a similar sense, Arrow somewhat walked this line. I mean, if it wasn't for Crisis on Infinite Earths, however, it's kind of unlikely that Arrow would have gone on for that 8th season, but the 8th season was a thing, with 10 episodes, as this crossover opportunity allowed the show to perfectly parallel that storyline and write out the character of Oliver Queen for good, kind of, you know, keeping a nice close on the Arrow series. But, you know, as Stephen Amell said himself, Arrow season 7 was ultimately the last proper Arrow season. And to be honest, at least from my perspective, of course there's going to be some viewers out there watching this video saying that the show could have still gone on to write more stories and more plots for an entire 22 episode season of Arrow. I mean, after all, that is what writers are for. So yes, in theory, Arrow could have done that. But the point I'm trying to make is that there comes a time where a show feels like it's running out of ideas, despite still renewing seasons and us watching watching new stories that span 22 episodes, things like this are apparent in the lack of interest from the audience, the popularity of whatever they choose to do for said season with that main story arc, and that's where ultimately, because the story is often just kind of quite subpar to okay, everyone starts, including the showrunners and the show itself, question, then is it really worth carrying on? And another reason I'm kind of mentioning this as well is, because I've seen a lot of people, that feels as though The Flash is kind of heading this way, or may already have, despite the new change-up from the showrunner Eric Wallace. Therefore, I've always echoed the same thoughts when talking about this subject in how I do believe that The Flash could go for 8 seasons, and of course, the writers could always come up with new stories for more seasons, but the question is, should they? And I think that question is definitely subjective, as I know there's tons and tons of fans out there who will always love to see a whole new season dedicated to another villain on The Flash, and they always love to see Grant Gustin's Barry Allen race around Central City stopping them, or just other metahumans of the week. But for many others, this could feel dragged out with just more cicadas or underwhelming seasons that, people one by one, or tens of people just kind of dip off until eventually the show isn't really bringing in as much people as it once did. But it will be interesting to see if after next season, if they decide to mirror that of what Arrow did, albeit Arrow's final season's renewal was mainly attributed to Crisis, that The Flash could make that hypothetical 8th season its last. But I do want to mention again, just for anyone wondering, what the heck you on about? This is going to carry on for a lot longer. It's just that the new way of tackling things that Eric Wallace introduced could really benefit the show and revitalize it for more seasons than what I'm giving it credit for. I mean, right now with my guesses at least, in terms of 8 seasons or something. I mean, I truly believe this season was a testing ground for that. I mean, after all, Eric Wallace came in, changed things up. Season 6 was the testing grounds with 2 main villains that makes a season a lot more interesting, with a lot more, I guess you could say, and this is what I was excited for with Eric Wallace's new formula with the graphic novel A and B of seasons, a lot more plot-oriented episodes throughout the season, as each of the 2 villains have a lot less screen time compared to the previous villains dominating a story arc that spanned the whole of the 22 episode season. So what I'm trying to say there is, with the success that Eric Wallace has had with these new implementations, season 7 could be even more successful than what the new features of The Flash season 6 have introduced, and this means that there could be a new breath of life in the show that, for all I know, could extend it beyond season 8. But if the show does end, I think I'd know how I'd like that moment to be, and that is with what a lot of other fans have echoed as well, and in a very cliche answer there, the Reverse Flash. Because, in a recent episode of The Flash, Eobard Thawne was yet again expelled in a Voldemort-like Horcrux way, where in the end of the episode it was heavily implied that he will return again one day, and when he does, in Barry's words in that ending bit of the episode, they'll be ready. So I did voice in how in my review of that episode even, I'm not a huge fan of such a popular character like Eobard Thawne being used as a one-off special episode, despite enjoying that episode at the same time. I mean, come on, it's Tom Cavanaugh and the Reverse Flash. But nevertheless, now we have yet again, this is the one good thing that the episode did keep open, another setup for his return in the future. So it would almost be poetic in a way, and this is probably why many fans have always kind of wanted this to happen in The Flash's last season, if Eobard's return is delayed until the final season. And let's assume that is season 8, just for example's sake, and this final season story will mirror the first season, being that obviously the first season was surrounding Eobard creating the Flash and training him, and well, you guys know the rest. So it would just also be a very satisfying way to tie a ribbon on the Flash as a whole, rather than risking, I think this is the way I view it at least, the final season with a lesser villain of the Flash, as we've been through somewhat of the biggest and greatest hits already. So it would be a safe bet to shelve the Reverse Flash until it's time to end the show with a huge bang of a storyline where Barry could maybe rid himself of his arch nemesis for once and for all. Versus, as I just said, if we had another main villain, which, fair enough, it could go well, it just might not go as well as if you focused entirely on that last season being Eobard Thawne. But that is all of my thoughts on this, guys. I would love to hear what you think of this down in the comments below. Do you truly believe that The Flash has enough material and enough new storylines that the writers could cook up? As I said, I do want to give credit that writers could always cook something up, but there comes a point where it does feel like they're pulling ideas out of an empty bag, so to speak. So do you really think it could go to like 10 seasons? Do you think it could go as far as Supernatural levels? I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we really thought that. Or do you think it would be a sensible idea to kind of maybe end this around season 8? I mean, I think that's where I'm opting for it to go, but we're gonna have to ultimately wait and see. This is more of just a fun topical discussion video. There's no way of us really ultimately knowing exactly how this show could end. I mean, there's a lot of other factors to it, like viewership, if actors are interested, and all of the other behind the scenes reasons. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Leave me some more suggestions on video ideas you would like to see coming out in the following weeks, especially during no episodes of The Flash. But either way, guys, really appreciate you spending some time with me today on this video. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're remaining safe. If you did enjoy this video, leave your support for the channel by clicking that like button, share the video, leave a comment. I'm saying this quite a lot at the minute. I always do anyway, really, but if you're finding yourself bored at home after binging all of these shows and you want to kind of have a place to talk to me through voice chat, even text chat about The Flash or the Batman movie or anything else, whether it's memes or gaming, who knows what, I do have a Discord server where you can make yourself home there. The link to that server will be in a top pinned comment or in the description down below. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. Goodbye.